Before we dive into today's episode, I want to extend a special invitation to all of our listeners. If you're considering adoption, navigating the home study process, or simply curious about your options, RG Adoption Consulting is here to guide you. Visit our website at www.rgadoptionconsulting.com/contact to schedule a complimentary chat. Our multi-agency approach is a strategic way to accelerate your adoption process without putting all your eggs in one basket. This strategy prevents you from feeling stuck with one agency, especially after a significant financial commitment. Why not consider a multi-agency approach with lower initial fees? We believe it makes a lot more sense. Plus, the support and education you receive through our services are aspects you might not expect you'll need until you're deep into the process. Reach out to us at rgadoptionconsulting.com/contact. We're here to support your adoption journey every step of the way. Your dream is to become a mom. My dream is to help you get there. I'm Rebecca Greenspan, a single mom through domestic adoption and an adoption consultant for over a decade. I'll be your guide, along with other adoption professionals and members of the adoption constellation, walking you step by step down this beautiful and complex path of adopting your baby. When I was going through the adoption process, I had no idea what I was doing, what I needed to know, or more importantly, who to trust. Well, after helping hundreds and hundreds of families grow through the beauty and complexity of adoption, I've learned more than a thing or two, and let me tell you, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. This isn't just another podcast sharing adoption stories, but it's for you if you're genuinely committed to diving in with an open heart, eager to learn everything there is to know about adopting a baby so that you can show up for yourself and your child in the best way possible. This podcast is for you if you're ready to put your newfound knowledge into action. Adoption isn't for the weak of heart, and it certainly isn't done when your baby gets placed in your arms. If that's what you think, I'm afraid you're living in la la land. My promise to you is to keep it real if you promise to keep digging. We'll acknowledge the hard, and we'll also celebrate the joy that is adoption. You ready? Let's do this. Welcome to This Week in Adoption with me, Rebecca Greenspan, your host. Coming live from the Florida Adoption Council Conference, and RG Adoption Consulting is one of the sponsors and the vendors, and not sponsor, just a vendor. We have a table here. I'm selling these awesome t-shirts that I will be showing you more of. It says Honor the Triad, but I'm excited to be here with so many of my partners and colleagues from Florida adoption agencies, adoption attorneys, people who work in the adoption community in one way or another. I love coming and being able to give hugs to our partners and just show my face. So I am going to share with you, pause due to a poor connection. Let's see if I reconnect. I'm going to share with you some of the things that have been coming up both here and in our community in adoption. Hold on one second. I'm going to see. Oh, she's wonderful, wonderful. This is Ellen Kaplan. Ellen Kaplan is an adoption attorney.
Yes.
You want to say where you were?
I am in Broward County, Florida.
Okay. What's one thing you've learned at this conference?
I learned a lot of things at this conference. This word, I can't just pinpoint one aha.
All right.
I just think that the speakers are really great. It's a lot of great information. Just to also protect birth parents and education for adopting parents. Most important thing about even like post-placement education, I think the discussions were, which is very important.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll be talking about today. I think one of the things I've learned through a survey that we did is hopeful parents are not realizing the importance of how much they need to learn because they don't feel like they need it at this moment.
That's true.
And they feel like they've got this.
I think it's not necessarily that. I think it's more fear. It's fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I think the more educated somebody is, because I'm a nurse as well as an attorney, a former labor and delivery nurse, but the more educated hopeful adoptive parents are about the process, about their role, about everything that goes into what's happening with a birth mom and the shame and the sadness and the guilt involved, and how, that trickles down, and then worrying about whether you're going to get the baby or not and all those other things for the adopting parents. I think it's really, really, really important to educate yourself in the beginning. So it's less fear of the unknown. It's almost like, anything else.
Yeah.
The more you learn, the more prepared you are, and the better able you are to handle it, so that when there are hiccups, because every case has a hiccup, you can sail through it a lot easier.
100%. Thank you, Ellen. Have fun. All right, good. That's what I was hoping would happen, that we have some guest speakers. But actually, let's just start there. So we recently did a survey of our community, and what we found is that adoptive parents felt a lot more supported with all the education we're providing than hopeful adoptive parents, because hopeful adoptive parents are not taking advantage of all the resources that are being provided, the speakers, the education, the adoption competent therapists. And our post-adoption people are coming back in droves to drink that up, because now suddenly they're like, oh my God, I need it and I wish I knew. So little ping in your brains, if you are a hopeful adoptive parent, drink up as much as you can now, because you will need it. 100,000,000% you'll need it. Okay. I wanted to also talk about, I was just sitting at breakfast this morning with an agency director and a couple of their their team, about the power struggle and the power shift. And the shift of power, meaning that as a hopeful adoptive parent, when you sign up with an agency, at that moment, that agency holds power. And many hopeful parents are really scared to ask questions, but it's so important to ask questions, because ultimately everybody wants a successful adoption in the end. And that's only going to happen if you are educated and aware of what you are saying yes to. So ask those questions. Don't be scared. Most likely that agency, if you are pushing back on anything that they're saying, they're not going to take it personally. They've done hundreds of these, thousands of these. So ask questions. You have the right to ask questions, and you want to know what you are saying yes to. Hopeful adoptive parents feel pretty powerless throughout the whole journey until you adopt. And then once you adopt, you hold all the power. And I want you to remember that, because you feel powerless in the hands of an expectant mom when you match. You feel powerless in the hands of an agency or your home study provider while you're going through it. And then that power shifts. And for the rest of that child's life, you sit there with all the power. What are you going to do with that power? Hera, right? Do you want to come say hi really quickly?
Yeah, of course.
This is Rob from...
Hey, guys. Florida Adoption Council.
He's running the show here. I'm talking about the shift in power during adoption and how hopeful parents feel really powerless through the process.
Yeah.
But then they hold all the power for the rest of this child's life. And what they do with it is really meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. Well, we're excited to hear from you today.
Yes.
Thanks for being a part of this. Good to see everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you. You're the best.
Bye. All right. Cool. Another guest stopping in. All right. So I wanted to say that. I wanted to empower you to ask questions. Really, really important. I also, something else that came up, kids. Kids are kids. Kids are going to ask questions. They notice things, and things are important to them more than adults sometimes. Kids are going to say, why is your skin color brown when your mom's is white? Why do you have black hair and everybody else in your family has blonde hair? Have you talked to your child about that yet? Have you given them the language and the words to be able to answer questions like that they are gonna get? Have you read books with them about that? Make sure that you have books in your house that address those things that your kids are going to experience starting at a very young age. So you want to start having these conversations right now. I remember when my son was very young, and he's brown, he's Mexican. And he used to point out people, oh, that person has brown skin like me. Oh, that person has brown skin like me. Now, we had talked about it. Unfortunately, there weren't a ton of books at that time, and this was just 13 years ago, but there are now, and many of our families are creating their own books. There are plenty of places where you can take pictures of family members, of your kids, whatever, and create a book about their story. I encourage you to do something like that, or there are a lot of children's books out there. In fact, I will link to some in the show notes if you're listening to this on the podcast. Allison Olson just wrote a children's book and one to share with others. I know that Francine just wrote, I'm going to link to all these past episodes. She just wrote, I think it's called Brianna's First Day at School. These are books that you can share with the schools also about other adoptive families. The other thing that came up recently, we have a lot of families. We do a ton of education. We teach them about the whole adoption process, and then they get that call. They've been waiting for a long time. Then they get that call, and they forget everything we taught them. That's okay. That's one of the reasons why you need a consultant. I'm sitting here sweating my tush off right now. But one of the reasons why you need a team is because when things start to happen and you forget everything you've just learned and you're like, what do I do now? What happens now? And it's like, we've taught you all that, but we forget that the adrenaline is pumping. You're so excited, and you forget everything you've learned. Who are you going to call? That's one of the reasons why consultants are so important. You need that person in your back pocket to call. A consultant, a therapist, your agency, social worker. Who is it that you're going to call and say, I just got this call. What should I say? Should I say yes? Should I say no? Is this the right situation for me? How does this all work? You need that person in your back pocket to call. So build your team. Build a team that you trust, that you can call on a dime.
Before we go on, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We still have so much to talk about. Hey there, Adoption Roadmap fam. Are you ready to take the next step on your journey to parenthood? If so, head over to our website and take our quiz. It's called, Are You Ready to Adopt? It's not just about testing your knowledge. It's about making sure you're emotionally and practically prepared for the beautiful, complex journey of adoption. Let's make your dream of parenthood a reality. Go to rgadoptionconsulting.com and take the Are You Ready to Adopt quiz today. That's rgadoptionconsulting.com. The quiz is free, and it will let you know where you are in the process and if you're ready to jump into your adoption journey.
Lisa, do you want to say hi to my audience real quick? Here's another one of my friends. Where are you from?
I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida.
And where do you work?
I work at Destiny Adoption Services, and we're also out of Tennessee.
Awesome. We are talking right now about the cost of adoptions rising.
Yes.
And with travel and everything else, people are now spending $60,000 to $80,000 on adoptions when all is said and done. Is that what you guys are seeing?
Yes. And really due to the cost of living expenses for our birth moms. A lot of them are homeless, so sometimes our only thing that we can do is to place them in hotels.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Another guest at the Florida Adoption Council conference. I don't know if everybody is able to hear that, but 60 to 80. We're seeing that all over the place, all said and done. Travel, consultant, birth mom expenses, attorneys, So it's a hard reality. And we are grateful to partner with your adoption finance coach to help our families be able to look at where can they get grants, loans, fundraising options, gifts, all of that. If you need the money and if you really want to adopt, it's there. We have to get creative and by helping people with all these different options. I'm going to leave you with a couple more things. When you are doing your adoption profile, be specific. Don't be broad. That's boring. I don't want to read another adoption profile that says, we have so much love to give. Am I right? You want to come say hi? We're on my live, my podcast. Where are you from?
Part of adoptions.
Okay, I'm telling people that when they do their adoption profile, when they do their adoption profile, don't be so broad and say, oh, we have so much love to give. We love to travel, but to be specific, like, do you have a tattoo and that's meaningful? Okay, what does that mean? Like, that's what you want to say in a profile, right? Okay, what is your...
When he says everything happens for a reason.
Okay. And if you were doing an adoption profile because you wanted to adopt a baby, do you, by the way? You do not. Okay.
24-year-old.
Okay.
Baby.
Well, if you were, I would say, why do you have that tattoo? What does that mean to you? And those are the details you want in a profile.
Agreed. Yes, actually, I've had birth moms, expectant moms tell me that they want to see real life and they want to know who you are. They don't want to see cookie cutter profiles where you're wearing the same shirt, where everybody does the same thing. Literally had a girl tell me one time she wanted to see the barbecue stand on a white t-shirt that it's a Tim McGraw song.
Oh my God.
And she literally said, I want to see real life.
Love it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. You can go to the bathroom now. Bye. So they want to see real life. They want to see the stain on your shirt. They want to see that you don't live in a perfect house with nothing on the floors. Be real. Be yourself. Show your quirky personality. Show who you are unapologetically, because you don't want to start, you don't want to like pretend to be somebody that you're not. That's starting on a lie. So be authentically you. I am going to end with, you have two choices when you start this adoption process and as you go through it. You can move forward with this process from a place of fear, worrying about everything that's going to go wrong, or you can go through it with a sense of hope and excitement, knowing in your heart that everything will end up right. You can start from a place of fear. You can go through it with a sense of fear in your heart about what can go wrong, or you can move forward with a sense of hope and excitement that everything, as Meredith's tattoo says, happens for a reason, and everything is going to end up right. Thank you for tuning in today. I will be back next week for another episode of This Week in Adoption. Bye-bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Adoption Roadmap podcast. If you did, I have a few favors to ask of you. First, please hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I'd love to hear your takeaways. Please write a review and let me know what you liked. And if you have a question or a suggestion on what you'd like to hear, I'd love to hear that too. Please shoot me an email at support@rgadoptionconsulting.com and let me know what you'd like to hear about. And if you have a question, I may just answer it online. Thanks again for listening. Tune in every Wednesday and Friday morning for a brand new episode of the Adoption Roadmap podcast. Until next time, bye-bye.